Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Good evening, everyone. I heartily welcome you all to this online webinar. I am so privileged and so honored to be sharing this evening with all of you. Today, the topic is meditation for daily life. As we all know, in a globalized world, taking time off to revitalize ourselves is essential if we want to function productively at work and to be able to unwind ourselves at the end of the day. So, meditation is the tool to do that, as well as the way to lead a stable and balanced life. So, through this session, we will know about the why, what, and how of meditation. That means, why do I need to meditate? Why do I need to meditate? What is meditation? And what is the need for me? And how do I meditate? So, let us learn a meditation skill that we can use as we commute at our desk and home. At the same time, we will have some tips on how to declutter our headspace and go from noise to silence. Today, this webinar is organized by the IT wing of Raj Yoga Education and Research Foundation, which is shortly known as RERF, which is a sister organization of Brahma Kumaris. It also has 20 wings that are working coordinately for the betterment and upliftment of various sectors of society. Thereby speaking more about the organization, I would like to say that the Prajapita Brahmakumaris Ishwarya Vishwavidyalaya, which was started in the year 1936, is an international non-governmental organization in general consultative status with the Economic and Social Council and UNICEF. It is also affiliated to the UN Department of Public Information, and our IT wing aims at bringing about internal transformation in the professionals, especially for the IT and related industries. And through these workshops and seminars, thousands of IT professionals have been benefited over the last 7 years from various IT organizations, including Google, Microsoft, TCS, IBM, Reliance, Infosys, and many more like this. So, now moving further in this program, we have with us Sister Rina. She is from Banguru Nagar Raj Yoga Center, Goregaon, Mumbai. She has done her MA in psychology from Mumbai University and her diploma in industrial relations and personnel management from Dr. Rajendra Prasad Institute of Communication and Management, Mumbai, and she has also completed her MBA in self management and crisis management from the Annamalai University. She has been associated with the Brahma Kumaris since 1998, and she has dedicated her life for the godly service since 2003. She has conducted seminars at various schools, associations, corporates, and government bodies like LIC, Oriental Insurance Bank, Mahindra and Mahindra, Maruti Suzuki at Mumbai. She conducts seminars and workshops on topics like stress management, anger management, value for values, overcoming fears, journey with harmony, managing the self, etc. So, we have a very special personality with us. Let us welcome Sister Rina to start our today's session. Welcome, sister. Welcome to the program. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, sister, and good evening to everyone. Today, we're going to be talking about meditation for daily life. Uh, I'm sure all of us feel the need to spend some time in silence. All of us feel the need to relax and to have better control over ourselves, over our emotions, to have better control over our life, better concentration, and meditation is the tool which helps us do that. Today, we will be talking about how meditation can be incorporated into our daily life. Uh, I would like to share a couple of presentations with you. And I would also like for you to join into this presentation with your responses in the chat. So, meditation in daily life. Everyone feels there is a need to meditate, isn't it? So, can you tell me, can you share with me why should we meditate? Of course, I have given you a couple of reasons why we should meditate. And it has become more and more relevant now because we are going through so many changes in our daily life because of the pandemic. And the whole system as we know it has changed in terms of how we can move about freely, how we work in our daily life, whether we are in school, we are in colleges, or we are working, or we are at home managing our homes. There has been a lot of changes. So, how at this present time, meditation has become even more relevant. So, here are a couple of reasons why we should meditate. Because meditation is a method that helps us to recharge our inner batteries. Just as our mobile needs a daily recharge, in the same way, internally also, our inner batteries, and I'm not talking about the body, but I'm talking about our emotions, our feelings, our attitudes, how we deal with things. This thing inside that helps us to deal with the outside world. Let's call it the inner battery. So, meditation is the method that helps us replenish this inner battery. When we meditate, it's entering into a state of higher consciousness. It's like bringing higher energy into our life. When we meditate, we do experience some amount of relaxation, peace, stability, and a lot of other calming emotions. And all of these are the energy that we need to face our daily life. It is said that meditation is the antidote for stress. And it is the best rest that you can give yourself. A few minutes of meditation daily, 10, 15 minutes of daily meditation is much, much more restful, more useful than 15 minutes of sleep or maybe half an hour of sleep. So sometimes we feel lazy, sometimes we feel we don't have the time. But spending 10 to 15 minutes of our daily life, minimum 15 minutes of our daily life for meditation gives the best rest for the mind and the body. So friends, meditation comes from the Latin word mediare, which means to heal. Essentially, what we are saying is meditation is a healing process. It is an inner healing. And it is a healing not just for the soul, but also for the body. Because researchers have found that meditators have greater immunity and they recover faster from illnesses. So, yes, meditation is like an immunity booster. And I would go as far as saying that meditation is the immunity for the soul, for the mind. And we all know that there is a deep interconnection between the mind and the body. So, when we talk about illness or disease, doctors say that nearly 70 to 80% of our illnesses are psychosomatic, which means that they are caused by internal factors. So, how we think, how we face situations, what we think about what's in front of us, that will determine our health. So it is said that our mind is our greatest friend and our greatest foe. As we think, so we are. Our thoughts have a great impact on our body. And it has been proved again and again in the medical fraternity, especially the effect of medicines. It's been seen that just the idea that that this medicine can help cure illness actually does cure diseases, even though the medicine may be a placebo. It has no known effect, but the very idea, the very thought that it can heal will actually heal a person. And if a person thinks that this is, this is not the right medicine or this is not going to work for me, then it can also have a reverse effect. It may be the best available medicine, but if internally a person has no belief in the medicine, then it's possible that the medicine will not work for them. So we say that diseases are largely a result of our thinking, which either waste or negative thinking causes a lot of stress, and that leads to illnesses and diseases. Of course, we'll say that there are external factors, external organisms that come into picture. But have you noticed that people suffering from the same illness will recover at different rates? Whether it could be, say, chronic illness like diabetes, or it is an illness brought about by some external virus or a bacteria, or let's say food poisoning. And it's not just about the immunity of the body, but it's also a lot to do with the immunity of self or the soul. So those who are positive, optimistic, enthusiastic, they are more likely to recover from illnesses. In fact, they're less likely to be ill compared to those who are pessimistic, those who think negative, those who think a lot. Today, our greatest difficulty or greatest problem, we can say, is that of thinking too much, overthinking. So overthinking has impacts not just on our health, physical health, but also our mental health. So, when a person is internally strong, when a person is internally motivated, positive, powerful, it will have a positive impact on what is going on externally in the body. And it will improve the immunity of the cell, of the body. So, meditation helps us move towards positivity, and hence it helps in better health. Regular meditation helps reset our thoughts. Overthinking or uh, thinking that doesn't stop, I would say overspeeding. Just as it's difficult to manage a, a, a car, a vehicle that moves very fast, in the same way, it's very difficult to manage the mind that is moving at a fast pace. In fact, it's even more, uh, it's easier to control a fast vehicle than it is to control the mind that goes at a speed which is breathtaking. But what actually one needs is to slow down our thoughts, decrease the speed of our thoughts, change the direction of our thoughts. Thoughts about why, how, where, when, how did this happen to me? Why me? Where can I, all of these questions, they take they take us in a direction that could be negative. So regular meditation helps me to stop. It helps me to see where I'm moving and to decide if this is the direction that I want to go in. We often do not realize that we have more power on our life than we actually think. We have more control over what we think, and hence how we feel, and hence how we act and react to situations. Just like there is an example that I have heard of in a story. I've heard a story, and the story goes like this: there are a group of people who are going through a jungle, and the jungle is very thick with a lot of vegetation and overgrowth, and so they have to hack their way through to get out of the jungle. Uh, so the leader and the men, they hacked their way through the jungle. But it took a lot of time and it looked as if they were not going anywhere. So that's when one of them decided to climb up a tree and to see where they are going. So if we don't climb up a tree and see where we are going, it is possible that we could be going around in circles in that same jungle. So one needs to go above, to move above the situations from time to time and see where we are moving. So regular meditation helps us to see that. It's a journey of looking within. It's a journey of self-discovery and knowing myself inside. Because often how we treat ourselves inside is how we treat others outside. How we treat ourselves inside is probably how we approach the situations that are outside. So meditation is a process that helps you to think in is a process that helps you to move in a positive path, and it helps you to access the power of your inner mind, subconscious mind, the power that can help you to move forward. So in gist, we can say that the purpose of meditation is, we can say there are many things that we can do with meditation, but the purpose of meditation is to have better health, to improve our concentration and performance, to develop a more positive peaceful, internally powerful personality to overcome defects in our personality. What I mean by defects is that uh, there are things, there are behaviors, or there are attitudes that we have, which we also understand is not good for us, which in fact hinders us from moving ahead in life, that hinders us from enjoying the life fully, or that comes in the way of better personal relationships. So with meditation, we are able to understand and change. And uh, the purpose of meditation is to be calm and peaceful, to face our problems with equanimity and poise. So, when we talk about meditation, naturally, meditation, as we said, it's a healing process, but it's not the healing of the body, but it's the healing of the mind. Our mind is the thinking faculty. So, we'll talk about how we think, what we think, the power of our mind, our thoughts. It is said that I am how I think. There's a famous saying. I don't remember the philosopher who said that, but someone said, I think, therefore I am. So my whole existence is because of how I think. If I'm happy, that's because I'm positive. If I'm sad, that's probably because I'm thinking something negative. If I'm confused, frustrated, it's likely that I have a lot of questions and I have so many loose ends, but no answers. So, how we think determines how we face our life. How we think determines how we feel about people and situations and circumstances. So, when we talk about our thinking faculty, the mind, we say, yes, the mind has so much power. There are, when we talk about our mind or the thoughts, we say there are four types of thoughts: positive, negative, waste, and necessary. So, what do you think is the most powerful, the most impactful? Positive, negative, waste, or necessary? What kind of thoughts should we be having through the day? Yes, I would like to invite some answers from you. So, yes, what kind of thoughts do you think we should have? Positive, negative. Negative is thinking that something will go wrong, something is wrong with other people, something fatalistic or something bad is going to happen, and we are suspicious of other people. Waste thoughts are thoughts where you have, a lot of questions, a lot of doubts, uh, thoughts that are not related to the present, and thoughts over which, about things over which we have not direct control. Like we think about the past, it's waste because we cannot change the past. If we think about what other people are doing, that is also a waste because I can't determine other people's behavior. So, which is the best thoughts? Always, yes, I can see that your responses think always positive thinking is the best. But is it the easiest to create positive thoughts? Probably everyone thinks that yes, positive thoughts are the best. And probably everyone agrees that we should have positive thoughts. But the question is, do we have positive thoughts? Do we think positively all the time? Is it easy to think positively all the time? given that we all understand that yes, it is important to think positively, but how much can we think positively? Yes, can I have more responses? Someone has said yes, positive thoughts are the best, but not easy. Yes, I would invite you to give more response. So it will be, more beneficial if it is interactive. Okay. So this is where we say yes, positive thoughts are not so easy. How can we create positive thoughts is important. Okay, and here also I have your response. Thank you so much for responding. Here you're saying that the upbringing in the environment is important. So if the upbringing and the environment is right, then we can think positively, right? And if the upbringing in the environment is not okay, so does that mean that we can't think positively? Yes, it's so true. We have Mishra ji who is saying that it is possible to achieve with willpower. Okay, surround yourself with positive people. That's a good idea. So, what if the people around me are not so positive, especially when we are in a pandemic situation where, I cannot choose uh, how people around me are, they're positive or negative. Yes, sometimes there is negativity coming through the environment. So it is difficult to maintain positive thoughts 24/7. I agree. This there will always be something negative outside, and the challenge is to, it's not challenging to remain positive in a positive environment. It is challenging to remain positive in a negative environment. So what you need is more inner power, isn't it? It requires, if the, like when you're driving a vehicle, when you're going uphill and when you're going downhill, when do you think you require more power, more energy? It requires more energy to go up a hill than to come down a hill. Or if you are living in a high rise building and you're climbing stairs, it's a little difficult to climb upstairs than to climb them down. So the point I'm trying to make here is that when one has to move from the negative to a positive, let's say negative is the lower level energy and positive is the higher level energy. So if I want to move from lower level to higher level, what do I need? I need power, I need strength, I need energy. And where do we get that from? So it's not from anything, energy from food, etc. is not the energy we're talking about. So the inner power, how do we get that? Meditation is a technique, it's a tool to develop inner power. So the more power I have within, the more likely it is that I can think positively, even in negative situations. So meditation therefore is necessary every day because we are facing negativity every day. So it is necessary to meditate every day, to bring in the power within every day, to empower yourself every day so that even when you're surrounded by negativity, if you are in a place where you can't really choose how negative a person around you is or a positive a person around you is, or if you can't surround yourself with positive people, you can be the positive person that can create positivity around you. So for that, one needs more inner power. And that's exactly why we need to meditate, and that's how meditation helps us. So, again, one of there are many, let's say, there are many uh, purposes of meditation. Some meditate to feel relaxed, and relaxation is all I need. So yes, relaxation is also can be achieved through meditation. Some want to have a greater inner power to build their self, empower their self. So meditation is also a tool that will help you to empower yourself. Some look for some solutions through meditation. And there are also a variety of approaches to meditation, but most of them, all of them will start from a particular point. And the point would be to become silent, to be still outside, and then from outside to be still inside. One of the techniques of meditation is Raj Yoga meditation. So today we'll be talking about Raj Yoga meditation. What is Raj Yoga meditation? It's an ancient form of meditation which has been uh, passed down from generations. It's been talked about by many people. Patanjali has also talked about meditation, yoga, and Swami Vivekanand has also talked about Raj Yoga meditation. So, Raj Yoga uh, is not only a form of meditation, but it's also a way of life. It's a comprehensive, compact method, technique, tool to live a better, peaceful, empowering life. Raj Yoga comes from two words, Raja and Yoga. So first let us look at the word Yog. It's derived from the Sanskrit word yuj, which means a connection and a communion. So yuj means it's a link, a connection, a communion, a communication, a relationship. And Raja, it means king. So Raj Yoga is the king of all yogas, all forms of meditation, all forms of communication with the self, a connection with the self, and it deals with the spiritual dimensions of inner life. Raj Yoga is the meditation that helps one to become the king of oneself. So, we all have a kingdom, don't we? So, we may not have a kingdom outside, but internally we all have a kingdom, and that's the kingdom of our senses. That's the kingdom of our thoughts and our actions and our personality, how we develop ourselves, the way in which my life shapes up, the way in which my personality shapes up. Who is in charge? Who is in control? Who is the king? Or who has the power? It is I. So, Raj Yoga, it deals with this spiritual inner dimension. This I, Raj Yoga, helps me to become a king of myself. In short, it's a method to become a self-sovereign. Today, a lot of people are slave to their senses. It wouldn't be wrong to say that. We are driven by taste, sound, we are driven by something that looks very attractive. Something looks so attractive and then we want to have it. We see let's say a person is suffering from diabetes and You see a beautiful picture of something sweet, like an ice cream or a gulab jamun or something like that, some sweet or chocolate or a cake, and you feel like having it. Maybe you see a picture or maybe you see it physically. But that sense, the sight attracts. So, in spite of the best knowledge and the best wisdom and understanding, if it is still pulling me to do something that I shouldn't, then I would say that I'm not the master of my senses, but the senses make me do things. So it's not just with the sight, but there are so many things, we are pulled by our senses. So today, most of us uh, in the world are pulled by the senses. And so if we are able to have greater mastery on our senses and on the subtle faculty of of our mind, of our thoughts, of our decisions, our judgments, then we will be so much happier. No? How the personality traits that we develop. If we exercise, we do have power, but if we exercise our power on these, then our life is so much less stressful, so much easier, and we would be so much more peaceful. So it is needed now to be in control of uh, our environment, be in control of our thoughts, of our behaviors. So it is true that situations are not stressful. It is our thinking, our attitudes towards the situation that makes it stressful. It is not people who create anger or stress or anxiety in me. It is how I'm interacting with people that will create stress or anxiety in me. So uh, we have, I will not go so much into it because probably we have heard a lot about this already. So let's see what is the focus of Raj Yoga meditation. What is soul consciousness? What is this inner dimension? The inner dimension we're talking about is uh, the self, the soul. The focus of Raj Yoga meditation is to realize the self and to realize God eventually. Because Raj Yoga, yoga means the link, and the highest form of link is the link between the soul and the supreme soul. It's between the Atma and Paramatma. It's the link between the highest energy, the supreme power, and myself. It's a link, Raj Yoga. Yoga is a link that empowers the soul. So there are two things that we focus on in meditation. Often people feel that when you need meditation means sitting silently. So meditation is not just a silent uh, it's not just keeping your mind blank. It's not just being silent and have nothing in your mind because, it is very difficult to have no thoughts. We always have something that we think about. So, meditation, Raj Yoga, is about consciously moving to a state of self realization, which means creating thoughts that help you become more connected to yourself. The more connected we are to ourselves, the more we will be in control. So, the first part is to connect with oneself. And the second, of course, is to connect with the highest energy. And as I said earlier, if we are more connected to ourselves, how we connect to ourselves is how we will connect with other people. So if I'm criticizing other people, if I'm judging other people, if I'm angry towards other people, If I say someone has done a mistake, or someone is in my team, or someone in my household who has done something that is not according to my expectations, and if I uh, look down on that person, if I use words that are hurtful, if I say, you know, you're so stupid, how could you do that? Don't you have any sense? Or you're useless. When you use those words towards other people for the mistakes that they do, and say, if you do the same mistake yourself, wouldn't you be using the same kind of words to your own for your own self? So when you do that, you tell yourself you're so stupid, you can't do this, you don't understand, you're good for nothing. What does it do to us? So instead of empowering, it makes us weaker. Instead of empowering, it makes us feel pain and we suffer. So, how we treat ourselves is a good indicator of how we treat others, or how we treat others is a good indicator of how we are treating ourselves internally. So, if I'm critical towards others, it means that I'm definitely so much more critical towards myself. And the more critical I am towards others, the less happy I will be, the less peaceful I will be. So, connect with yourself is to really understand what you are. If I can learn to speak to myself peacefully, lovingly, if I can be comfortable with myself, contented within myself, if I can be peaceful, then I will also be like that with others. So, for that, I need to connect with myself. So, who am I? What am I? That is something that meditation begins with. You know, you start with that kind of an exploration. What is really going on inside? So Raj Yoga is also, as I said earlier, it's a method, it's a technique of meditation, but it's also a way of life. So with meditation, of course, there is an amount of knowledge or information that is involved. Information or knowledge about oneself helps me to understand myself better. And the more I understand myself, the more I am able to move towards what I really want, right? So, who am I? We see when we talk about the self, we are saying that there are two things. You know, when we talk about the self, we are talking about a person. When we're talking about the person, I mean a human being. When we say human being, there are two words. One is the human, and the other is the being. So, human comes from the word humus, and humus means soil. It is said in the Hindu mythology, in the Hindu system, that the body is made of five elements. It's made of soil, and it comes from the soil and it will go back to the soil. It will go back to the five elements. And the other aspect is the being, the soul, consciousness, Atma, Ruh. These are the various names to the self that's given. This being is said to be eternal, indivisible, indestructible. The soul, Atma, is said to be the driver, the driving force that is responsible for, for the functioning of the body, for everything that we experience. It is not, it's said that the body is like an instrument, and the soul is actually the driver. It is through the body that we experience happiness, love, pleasure, pain, sorrow. A dead body is not capable of any experience. So, any experience is the experience by the being or the self. So, when we talk about the self, what exactly do we mean? So, we talk about three aspects. When we talk about the self, we say I'm, I'm a soul, I'm Atma, I'm consciousness. What do we mean? One is that I have the ability to think. So, my faculty of thinking is called the mind. I have the ability to decide, to discriminate, to analyze, and that is the intellect. And I have within me certain tendencies to act, which we can call as habits. So, a habit is a tendency to act in a certain way at all times, and it's built in my personality, not my body. So, that's the sanskar. A person's habits are determined by their actions. Any action that we read, that we repeat again and again becomes a part of our habit, and the habit carried for a long period of time becomes my personality or the sanskar. So when we talk about the self, yes, we have these three faculties: the mind, which is the power to think. Uh, Thoughts create our actions, and when we take charge of our thoughts, we take charge of our actions. So the power of mind, it's undisputable that the mind is so powerful, and we talked about it earlier also. It's the intellect, the decision power, the will to decide where I'm moving, and the sanskar. When I talk about myself, there's always, of course, the question of how am I? Who am I? As I said, it is to realize that I'm more than the body, more than the name, more than the post or the position I'm occupying, more than the gender or the nationality. I'm more than my circumstances. I'm not defined by the physical attributes that I have. Who am I? I am this thinking, feeling, experiencing being, this conscient being. And I can say that this conscient being is the soul. How am I? My innate nature, my innate quality, the innate quality of any person in this world. I'd say that the innate quality of every person or any person are the seven inner qualities, that is, peace, bliss, love, purity, power, happiness, and knowledge. Each one of us strive for these seven qualities. If you ask yourself, for anything that you're doing, why am I doing this? The answer will ultimately come to one of these seven things. For example, why do we work? Why do we want to earn money? We earn money so that we can have a comfortable life, so that we can eat. We can eat well, we can live well. Okay. So, why do we want to earn money more than uh, the needs of eating and sleeping and having a house? A person can live in a hut and a person can live in a palace and more palaces. So why do we want money? So the answer could be because we want happiness, because we want those whom we love to be happy, because we want some recognition from other people, which means because I want love from other people. Or someone might say that if I have enough money, then I can be at ease. I don't have any worries for the future, so I can find peace. So ultimately, it is either peace, bliss, love, purity, power, happiness, and knowledge that we are striving for. I remember hearing the story about a farmer who was resting peacefully under a tree in his farm, and a salesman happened to pass by. And he could see that the farmer was doing well in his farm, but he was wasting his time resting in the day In the heat, of course, it was very sunny, and so the farmer was resting in the shade of a tree. So he woke up the farmer and spoke to him. He asked him, "What are you doing instead of working in the fields?" He said, "I'm relaxing. I'm just trying to find some peace. And I'm peacefully relaxing right now." So the salesperson said, of course, he was highly motivated and highly, uh, how do I say that? He was very much wanting to, go after the targets and goals. And he said, of course, if you work harder, you will earn better. And the farmer said, "So then what?" The salesperson said, "Of course, if you have a better yield, you earn more money, you can probably, the next time in a couple of years, you can probably buy another piece of land." And the farmer said, "Then what?" "So you can have more produce and you can sell more, and probably you can have much more land in the future." And the farmer said, "Okay, so then what?" And the salesperson said, "Of course, when you have enough land and you have enough produce and you have enough money, then you can put up your own factory." And the farmer said, "Okay, then what?" And the uh, salesperson said, "Well, you have factory, you have a lot of people working for you, and you can make a lot of money, and you can have a couple of more factories." And the farmer said, "Okay, then what?" Then the salesperson said, "Then you can rest easily in your home, on your big king size bed, and you can have so much peace and rest." And the farmer said, "What do you think I'm doing right now under this tree? Am I not resting? Am I not at peace?" No? So the gist of the story is, we strive for peace, we strive for happiness. Ultimately, what we all want is one of these seven qualities. And the fun thing is that the qualities that we are talking about, they are not something external. Peace, happiness, bliss, it's not outside, it's within. So again, I'm going to share another story with you. Uh, it is said that when the creation happened, God was with a group of angels, and they created the world, they created the human beings, and God had a very precious thing with him. He had the virtues, he had the qualities that make an individual divine. And of course, one of the qualities was peace. And so God said, "Where do we hide these virtues, these values, these divine principles, so that human beings don't find it and destroy it?" So when they were discussing, there were a couple of suggestions. One of them said, "Let us hide it deep in the earth." So another one said, "Let us hide it in the depth of the ocean." Another one said, "Let us hide it on top of a mountain where a human being can't reach." And for every suggestion, the answer was same. No, no, the human beings can reach into the depths of the earth. They can reach into the depths of the ocean. They can climb up the highest mountains. One of the angels, a wise angel, very quietly said, "I think the best place to hide peace is to hide it within their hearts, within themselves. They're not likely to find it there. They'll not look inside, they'll look outside." And so everyone agreed that that's the best idea, and that's where it was hidden. So this is a simple story which says that yes, peace and love and happiness and purity and power, it's all within us. I don't have to go outside to search for peace. Peace is my own inner quality. I need to reconnect with myself. I need to create a link with myself, the true self. I'm saying the true self because we have ideas about what we are based on how we look, the amount of money that we have, and many other things, which is not the true self. Because everything else is going to change. It is said beauty is only skin deep. So the skin which is beautiful now is going to fade. It's not there forever. That is also going to change. The name, the fame, everything is temporary. What is eternal is what is within me, what I already have. So, peace, happiness, love, wisdom, these are all my innate qualities, and I need to link with myself. Yes, one of you, I can see your message. You're saying that hiding within myself. Actually, it's not so much as hiding, but going within yourself, and meditating is the best way. When we actually are stressed, what do we do? What kind of, everyone has some or the other technique, when you're stressed, when you're anxious, what do we do generally? Yes, what do we do? Can you share your responses? What do you do when you're, stressed and anxious or worried? How do you how do you handle yourself? How do you adapt? How do you change? How do you relax yourself? Yeah. What do we do generally? You want to share? We try to control our emotions. Yeah. How do we try to control our emotions? Someone has said we meditate. Okay. Eat, watch films. Yes, you're right. That's only temporary. Some of you have said we connect and share with God. Yes. So when you eat, okay, uh, what is actually connecting and sharing with God? How do you do that? And why do we fall into the habits, earthly habits of eating and watching films? And what does it do? Sometimes it's so difficult to concentrate, but when you're watching a movie or when you're listening to your favorite song, the level of concentration is so high at that time. You can concentrate so well. Nothing will distract you at that time. So we do have the capacity to concentrate and focus. It's uh, so what does it do? If you're listening to music, what does it do? One thing that I'm trying to get at is that if you're listening to, say, music, some people get into the habit of, whenever they are stressed, they will, uh, yes, do pranayam. They will listen to some music, put on the headphones, and, shut out the world and just get into another world. We go out. Yes, that's also a very good method. Go out for a walk, breathe. Yeah, try to meditate, focus on something else, like pranayam. When you do pranayam, you're focusing on your breathing, and to take the focus away from what is stressing you out and bring the focus to some other thing. Yes, we also watch TV. So when we are watching TV, what happens? Thing that is bothering me, what we are doing is actually we're mentally walking away from it to something else. We focus our attention to something else. So what we do is, so let me put it very, crudely in front of you. What we are doing is we are trying to detach ourselves from our problems, trying to distance ourselves from the painful situation, the painful experience, or the painful person that is in front of us. So the detachment, as someone said, it's only temporary. So when you go back, When you distance yourself, it's like the pigeon. It's a very common story. It's that the pigeon, when it sees a cat coming towards it, what does the pigeon do? The pigeon will shut its eyes. Uh, they will shut their eyes and feel that, okay, uh, now the cat is not there anymore. No, it's not true. Even if you can't see the cat will see the pigeon, right? So most of our methods of dealing with yes, we try to block it out. So most of our methods are to block it out. That is needed. Distancing is needed, detachment is needed, but the method needs to be right. You know? So I need to be away from if I'm the pigeon, I need to be away from the cat. But closing my eyes, even when I open my eyes again, probably the cat is still there, or maybe the pigeon may not even get the chance to open the eyes because the cat has already attacked the pigeon. So if I, watch TV or uh, today it's on the laptop or the mobile, I can immediately, immediate gratification. I can immediately go on YouTube and watch so many things, and I can be so involved in it and totally forget about what is happening outside or what is bothering me. But when I put off this TV, when I put off the YouTube channel, and then when I go back to where I was, the problem is still there. It's not been resolved, right? So you need a method that helps you to resolve the problem or make you stronger than uh, uh, make yourself stronger than before. It's said that if you want to make a line shorter without erasing it, what do? Is you create a line, you draw a line which is taller from the line that is already drawn, right? So automatically the line becomes short, right? The same way, yes, you change the perspective towards your problem and you make yourself more empowered to face your problem. You make yourself stronger than the problem. So find a meditation is a way in which you are able to distance yourself from the problem. But in that process of distancing, this inner link with oneself, as we said, peace and love and happiness and power, it's all within me. And within me, when I reconnect with that peace, with that wisdom, with that strength, it emerges into my consciousness and then into my perspective, into my attitude, into my behavior. And this is what is said to be empowering oneself. And stepping inwards helps me to helps me to have more control over myself. And it's also the stepping stone to connecting with the supreme energy. So I may not have the resource or the power enough to become so strong at this point of time. But then to me is available the power of the Supreme Soul. When I forge a link with the Supreme, I can connect with a higher level of energy. And it is said in science that, energy flows from a higher level to the lower level. So if I connect with that higher level of energy, God is said to be the ocean of peace. And when I'm in the ocean of peace, and there's only peace around me, and I'm filled with that peace uh, when I'm meditating, so when I'm out of that meditation and I'm facing my daily situations, I'm stronger inside, right? So that's how, meditation helps me to go inward, helps me connect with my own qualities, and that helps me to deal with what is outside. So, yes, one is the link with oneself, and the other is to realize the connection with the Supreme Being. There are a lot of misconceptions here also. When we talk about God, some of us believe in God, some of us don't believe in God. And those among those who believe in God, also there are many, many different ideas and opinions about what and who God is like. So I'm not at this point of time trying to go into that, but definitely I would say that within human beings, among human beings, we realize that there have been people, humans, who've been so much more superior to the rest in terms of their insight, in terms of their compassion, in terms of their love for humanity, in the virtues and the values that they were held in life, right? So everyone, they have their different levels of thoughts, different levels of compassion, different levels of these inner qualities that they manifest in their life. And we say that God is the one who is the uh, ultimate in terms of all the virtues, all the powers, everything that's positive. huh? So this being, the supreme being, is the highest. The highest is called as the supreme, right? Is the highest. This being is the highest in terms of peace and love and power and wisdom, compassion, uh, in terms of anything, any virtue. And you say that this being who has all of it is God. And this being who is the ultimate in all the virtues cannot be someone who would curse or who would bring about pain and suffering to humanity. In fact, the greatest compassion, the greatest people are the ones who are the humblest and they have greatest love and compassion for humanity. So, if we talk about the Supreme, we say it's he's or she is the benevolent one, the one who brings about positivity into the world, who brings about light in a dark situation, in the dark world, and not just for one people, but for the whole world. So the one who brings brightness into our world is God. Okay, so very quickly, I will go through methods of how to meditate. So when we're talking about meditation, and we say that it is a process of connecting to ourselves. So definitely, it's not something external, which means that you don't have to sit in a particular posture, or you don't have to use beads or things like that. But definitely, there is some amount of inner preparation that we need to make. And that preparation has mostly to do with preparing your mind, detaching from external environment, going within, looking at your thoughts, observing, letting your thoughts slow down, and creating the thoughts that you want within yourself. Thoughts that take you towards your inner nature. Thoughts like, I am a peaceful soul. I am a powerful being. So, creating those positive affirmations, positive thoughts, help me move towards a higher state of consciousness. And when I am experiencing, not just creating those thoughts, but also experiencing them as true. It's one thing to say, I am a peaceful soul, but give it some silence. I am a peaceful being. And feel the peace within yourself. When you give it some time, you give it some focus and attention, you'll start feeling, experiencing that peace. And if I go deeply into that experience, then I'm able to tap into the qualities, the virtues, the power that I have within myself. And I can also then tap into the link that I have with the Supreme Soul. So the method for meditation is to sit at ease. Yeah, I'll just take one more minute. Don't have a blank mind. Relax your body. Relax the body first. Set your mind inwards, away from the senses. Sit at ease. Think positive thoughts, and then you can get what you want from the Supreme. So, lastly, let us go into that meditation experience. So, I would request you to sit at ease, relax yourself, and to relax yourself, let us take some time and let us turn our attention inwards in silence. Take a few deep breaths. And as you breathe in peace. And as you breathe out negativity, stress, or anything that is bothering you. So let us take these 3 deep breaths. 1, breathe in positivity. Breathe out negative. 2, three, relax. And as you relax, let go. Let go of any tension, any worry that you may have. Let go and relax. Create within you this one thought and focus on this thought that I am a peaceful soul. I am a peaceful being. As you create this thought, imagine a silvery ray of light coming from the top, entering your head. Silvery ray of light of peace from the Supreme, entering from your head and spreading into your entire body. Each and every part of your being is filled with peace. Infinite rays of peace spreading to every cell, every fiber, every muscle of your body. And you experience deep, deep relaxation. As you feel peaceful, even the organs of your body become peaceful. And in this state of peacefulness, this peace creates a bubble of peacefulness around you. And now You're so peaceful. In a state of peacefulness, you are connected with the Supreme, who is the ocean of peace. And the vibration of peace spreads out into the entire atmosphere. Om Shanti. Shanti. Shanti.
Thank you, sister.
So, with that, we end today's session. Thank you so much for your patience. Over to you, sister.
Thank you, sister. Now I am inviting Sister Roji for deliverance of the vote of thanks.
ओम शांति। आज के प्रोग्राम के लिए सबसे पहले सर्वशक्तिवान, सर्व की कल्याणकारी, सर्व की रक्षक, हम सब आत्मा के पिता परमात्मा शिव बाबा को तहे दिल से
Om Shanti, not audible.
धन्यवाद करती हूँ। उसके बाद हमारे IT विंग के चेयरपर्सन परम आदरणीय राजयोगिनी डॉक्टर निर्मला दीदी जी को मैं तहे दिल से धन्यवाद करती हूँ, जिनकी मार्गदर्शन में IT सेवाएं चल रही है। उसके बाद हमारे मधुबन के IT विंग के कोऑर्डिनेटर राजयोगी जसवंत भाई जी को भी तहे दिल से धन्यवाद करती हूँ। हमारे भुवनेश्वर सब जोन के मुख्य हमारे परम आदरणीय राजयोगिनी लीना दीदी जी को भी दिल से धन्यवाद करती हूँ, जिनकी शुभ भावना से सेवाएं चल रही है। उसके बाद आज के हमारे विशेष वक्ता आदरणीय राजयोगिनी रीना दीदी जी को दिल से बार बार धन्यवाद करती हूँ। दीदी जी हम सभी को आज के टॉपिक्स पर बहुत अच्छी तरह से समझाया। इसके लिए मैं दीदी जी को सभी के तरफ से, मेरी तरफ से दिल से धन्यवाद करती हूँ। दीदी जी आपको बहुत बहुत थैंक्स। आज के प्रोग्राम में जिनका भी सहयोग रहा, सभी को बहुत बहुत थैंक्स। आप सभी जो पार्टिसिपेंट है, जिन्होंने इस कार्यक्रम में जुड़े, चाहे जूम के माध्यम से, चाहे यूट्यूब के माध्यम से, आप सभी को भी बहुत बहुत थैंक्स। सभी को धन्यवाद करते हुए परमात्मा की याद में रहकर मैं अपनी वोट ऑफ थैंक्स को समाप्त करती हूँ। ओम शांति, ओम शांति।
आज तुझे कुछ देने के लिए बढ़े हैं परम पिता के हाथ। भर ले झोली तू रत्नों से, भर ले झोली तू रत्नों से, सदा रहे ये तेरे साथ। आज तुझे कुछ देने के लिए बढ़े हैं परम पिता के हाथ। दुनिया में सदा ऊंच कहलाए। बिन सोचे भगवान जिस पर अपना सब लुटाए। लेता चल लुटाता चल, लेता चल लुटाता चल, बढ़े खजाना दिन और रात। आज तुझे कुछ देने के लिए बढ़े हैं परम पिता के हाथ। सेवा करके जिसने अपना सब कुछ सफल बनाया, उससे ज्यादा और किसी ने ईश्वर से ना पाया। देते समय दाता न पूछे, देते समय दाता न पूछे, कभी किसी की जात और पात। आज तुझे कुछ देने के लिए बढ़े हैं परम पिता के हाथ। भर ले झोली तू रत्नों से, भर ले झोली तू रत्नों से, सदा रहे ये तेरे साथ। आज तुझे कुछ देने के लिए बढ़े हैं परम